Hi guys, another take one. Thank you very much for being here. Hi Christian, how are you?
Hello, yes, very good, thank you. How are you, Saeed?
Pretty well, thank you very much as well. Just did the dog vaccination this morning. He is also good, so life is good. Nothing to complain about.
Brilliant. Can't
Yeah.
complain about that then, can we?
No, not really. So you
No.
had a couple of ideas. We can go with those. I don't know. Yesterday you said something. I've been sort of being a bit of a dictator. So do you have anything that you want to talk about today?
I've actually got a list. So for all of our viewers, we've got the next 6 or 7 days worth of content ready to go. So everyone waiting with bated breath for our for these sessions, and we've got loads in the pipeline. Today, I've got a choice for you, actually. Today, I wanted to move it across to Dubai. I know we've spoken quite a lot about UK, and I wanted just to get more of a feel about the tax implications in Dubai, and just a bit of an overview about life as a whole in Dubai.
Yeah. I think I usually say I might not be the right person to talk about this, but I kind of am because we moved there around early 2000. I spent my teenage life there, and most of my adult life basically I spent it there. Uh, Very interesting place. I know we traveled together. But it was your first time, I believe, a couple of months ago. Tax. I mean, it's been always tax free from the like 2 decades ago, as far as, or nearly 3 decades ago, as far as I remember it. A few years ago, they started introducing VAT, which I think here in the UK, that's 2% when you go to a grocery store or any services that you get, you receive, you need to pay that 20%. That is 5%. Initially, it was only on certain things that was imported, electronics. I noticed because I was doing a bit of a trading activity. So that 5% is there. And again, few years ago, they started introducing corporate tax, which is 9% after a certain threshold. I think more or less with a margin of error, it's $100,000 once your I want to say once your profit passes £100,000. Please correct me if it is revenue. Then you need to pay 9% corporate tax on your profit, on your bottom line. So that's there. Aside from that, there is no other tax there. Again, for this is for people who are taxed, they're residents in Dubai, in UAE. I don't know. I think that partially answers your question. If you rent a property, if you buy property, you flip it, you sell it, and you make money, similar to like capital gain tax that you have here, that doesn't exist. It's a bit of a cultural taboo to talk about death and stuff where I'm from, but I'm going to say this. But may you guys all live long, 120 years. My Persian friend may relate to this. But if at any point you're dealing with inheritance related issues and things like that, there is no inheritance tax. I know that's a hot topic these days here in the UK. So yeah, none of those things exist, especially in this sort of realm that we are talking about, real estate and properties. Uh, there are no taxes there.
Thank you. How do you foresee things looking in the future? Do you see it changing from a taxation point of view, either within Dubai or from countries that people are potentially moving their assets from to Dubai, or can you see it just remaining as it is?
I think historically speaking, at least here in Europe, is it Ireland right now, or has been Ireland that one of the destination, like some of the FTSE 100, or maybe even like the FANG, or like the big some of the big five companies in the world, they have head offices there. I think tax, it's very important. Being tax efficient is at top of the list for many businesses, for many people, high net worth individual. And now these days, I think people are becoming even more financial savvy. So it's becoming a topic for everybody. Everybody wants to avoid it. Uh, I think for countries to be able to be sustainable, for government, for running a city, like municipal services, healthcare, things like that, somebody has to pay for it at the end of the day. I mean, that's the reality. I think the question is, what is the most effective way? What's the efficient way? Should the government put the onus on people, on the citizen, on residents to go and acquire like a private healthcare, and and then not be in a way that the UK is or many European countries are. Um, I think that the fact that the Dubai has introduced 5% tax initially and the 9% tax corporate tax, I think it shows that there is definitely going to be some more changes there. It's a definite possibility. It can happen. I think for them, one of the like for policymakers, it's important to strike that balance to at what point you're going to push away people. Like I think it's like almost like a lever that they can use to control the population and how many people they want to invite. I think UAE, Dubai. I think Dubai and UAE, that's a word that a lot of people use it interchangeably. But UAE as a whole and Dubai has been a very hospitable. They're very receptive to like they encourage people to go there. But at some point, I think they will come, and they have done that in the past. They, I mean, you would come to this realization that you need to charge some more for the system to work better. And I do think it can happen. I think it was last year that Oman started introducing the income tax. So I
Yeah.
think one of the things that people are concerned about is income tax. And I know this could be a very controversial topic because anybody who has lived there in Dubai, they know that there are some other charges that you don't pay here in for example in UK or in Europe, and there is this popular belief that the system charges you or take their taxes in a different way from you. Whether it's your car renewal or your resident visa renewal or things like that. I think that's up for debate because a lot of those expenses, unless you have lived in both places, here also they do exist too to a different degree. Uh, but yeah, so yeah, I mean, my answer is that I do think that it will change, in my opinion, but to what extent and how, I mean, yet to be seen. But I think even the changes that have happened in the last 5 years, from VAT to corporate tax, it is still a lot better than how it is in many other European and Western countries.
Yeah, without a doubt, and I think that that'll remain the case for many, many years to come. I think. Um, with as someone with such great knowledge of the area, if someone was asking you to compare Abu Dhabi to Dubai, just generically, what would be your answer to that to someone without any knowledge?
I keep telling people that I'm a bit of a TMI, which is not great for this kind of 15 minutes program that we have. But all I'm going to say this is that I grew up most of my life in Dubai. In 2008, on the back of a financial crisis, there was an opportunity. I ended up moving to Abu Dhabi, lived there for about 6 months. I still remember going to Shakira's concert back then, New Year, I think it was New Year 2009. Um, and I ended up meeting my wife right now in Abu Dhabi as well. She was working in healthcare system there. Very, I think as a well, tax related, income related, a lot of those things are very similar. One big difference is that I've never met so many local people in my life the entire time that I lived in UAE as many that I met during that short time that I was in Abu Dhabi just before moving back to the UK. So again, I think if you're interested in meeting local people, Emiratis, that's a great place to be. Life is a lot quieter, which I think as you get older, I really enjoyed it. The last couple of I think it was for about a year that I actually lived there actually. So if you want a bit of a low key, quieter lifestyle, Abu Dhabi is a lot better. If you're younger or if you are young at heart and you want to have a better nightlife, clubbing, things like that, Dubai is the place to be at.
From an investment perspective, in terms of property investment?
Yeah, I'm not a super expert on Abu Dhabi. I know that the biggest player there is Al Dar. I mean, they're so big that they're now even present here in London as well. They're doing investment here. They're developing properties here. I do think, I mean, just by looking at some of the attractions that they have, from Ferrari World to Sea World to, I mean, Disney, they're opening up many places. And if you ever see the Hollywood characters that they're using, it just shows that the future plan that they have. I think Abu Dhabi is they've got 95% of the sovereign wealth, which comes from the oil, and they're really diverse. They're really big on diversifying. So I think the future is super bright. It's a lot more raw. Like it hasn't been invested as much for, especially for foreign investors in Dubai, like the way that we have seen it in Dubai. So definitely, I do think there is a really good future for it.
Going back to Dubai, do you anticipate the continued growth that we've seen over the last decade or so, and even going back, I remember saying to you when I was in Dubai, I saw a picture of Dubai in 1966, and it was literally one road with a couple of dwellings, and to see how far it's come in such a comparatively short space of time was, to me, quite remarkable, really. Within the UK, often it takes us 10 years to build one bridge or one infrastructure. So to have developed and to build such an amazing city in that timescale, do you see the future as rosy as the past has been? Do you just see continued development and growth?
You know, the nature of the nature of growth, just in nature, this is not an attack on any sort of system, any destination, or anything like that. It's just that there are limits, and it can slow down and it can fluctuate. And when you are a developing country, by definition, based on the economies, and versus when you're a developed country, the growth will just, at some point, it hits plateau. It will stagnate a little bit and it slows down. And when you become a developed country, there is no way that it can grow anymore at the pace that it was going, right? So there is no
Yeah.
question about it. It's not a matter of my opinion or anybody's opinion. This is just pure economic based on historic data. I do think that we are at a crossroad, at a very interesting place in history, with the AI, with the impact of it, with the way that you can be. And I do know that Saudi, UAE, they're trying to really position themselves as like the Silicon Valley of Middle East, and I think they have done a fantastic job with that. And a lot of investment as a result is going there. So it's going beyond just properties and oil and tourism and that. It's going to be like, the way that US has been for like many decades, and the West has been for many decades. I do think a lot of innovation is going to come from a place like Dubai and UAE and Saudi Arabia. So yeah, I do think, depending on how they grow, I think they can sort of again diversify the way that they're growing. And I think this property actually just has become, and it is still becoming, a catalyst for this growth in the future. So that's what I would say. I I don't have a crystal ball. I think that the growth will fluctuate and it will eventually hit a place a place of maturity. Uh, but I do think at the moment, this is we are not nowhere close to that, if you ask me.
And that was going to be my next question, and it's something that I didn't realise until I was there, and I've had subsequent conversations with other people since. Is the fact that Dubai are positioning themselves at the forefront of AI and this new technology, and for me that is a major point as to why that growth will continue. Without that, I think that the argument about the fact that it could plateau is a very valid one. But if Dubai can continue to place themselves as world leaders in that industry that's only going to get bigger and bigger, then I can see that expansion continuing to grow and the supply and demand continuing to be there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And look, I think if anybody is interested in investing property, just mentioning this fact means, again, depending on, I think it really depends on where you are. Like if you're a short-term investor, long-term investor, do you see yourself living there? And that's why we always try to have like a very detailed, comprehensive sort of good discussion with people, which is beyond some people's patience, and I get that. But I think that's important. But again, I think depending on where you want to do the sort of capital appreciation that you can see in a place like Dubai, it's at the moment unmatched. And
Yeah.
it may not be for everybody. And with that, because that's the reward, there also is a risk. And that's why you need to talk to people who understand the risk and evaluate it and see if it is the right sort of profile of investment for you or not.
Absolutely. And I think as a company, to have the combination of UK property and Dubai property for our investors, they do sit so nicely hand in hand. So some really great opportunities for people to look at. Saeed, I think we've come to the end of another episode so very quickly. So thank you very much for all of your take on Dubai. Much appreciated.
Of course. And thank you. Another take on, I believe this was the episode 7. Can talk to you guys again tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.